The NASCAR Canadian Tire Series has arrived at Kawartha Speedway for the final round of the championship. After a season of testing their skill on challenging road courses and oval tracks, the drivers are as anxious as we are to find out who the next NASCAR champion will be.
In 2008, Canada's best late model stock car drivers dazzled motor racing fans nationwide as each searched for personal triumph and an opportunity to be called champion. On the way, some have pushed themselves to the limit with often dramatic results, while others have taken the steady, controlled route. And while the approach may vary, each has made major sacrifices for the chance to be crowned champion. However, one driver, one team stood out from the rest. Race after race, lap after lap, the number 22 Dodge was always there. Scott Steckley has had a stranglehold on the Castrol points chase from the start. However, here at Kawartha, Don Thompson Jr. can topple the perennial points leader. Tonight, the chase is on, because tonight, a champion will be crowned. Welcome to the 13th and final round of the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series, presented by Sirius Satellite Radio. We're at Kawartha Speedway in Fraserville, Ontario, for the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this outstanding 3/8 of a mile banked oval complex. I'm Dave Bradley. Along with me is Billy Rouse Jr. and Todd Lewis's trackside. Billy, we've talked about it all season long. The sheer dominance of the 22 crew and driver Scott Steckley, and what a season he's having.
Oh, it's been unbelievable. They've been the team to beat. Their communication's been fantastic. 4 wins, 5 top 5s, most laps led, most money in his pocket, but the engines have let him down a couple times, and that's been his Achilles heel. He's now in a tight race when we go to this final event.
Absolutely. He had a chance to clinch at Riverside Speedway, was a little bit nervous going into that one, and he did have motor trouble. Finished in the unlucky 13th position. Don Thompson Jr., of course, went on to the win, and that shakes up the Castrol points chase. Thompson is now just 67 markers behind Steckley heading into this final event. Now, Andrew Ranger did have a mathematical chance at catching Steckley, but he chose to race at Kansas instead this weekend. And while we talk a little bit about this championship, we have to touch on a past champion as well, Peter Gibbons, who's getting ready to start his final race here tonight.
Oh, very much so. Peter rewrote the record books. In 1994, he joined us with NASCAR. He's had 27 wins, 2 championships, just a great sportsman, a heck of a wheelman to boot, and it's going to be sad to see next year without that number 1 car in the field.
And he definitely will be a candidate for the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. Well, Peter and the rest of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series took to the track just a short time ago for qualifying time trials. And it's no surprise, the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. once again time trials the fastest in the home hardware Chevy at a time of 18.190 for an average speed of 74.217. And with more on 2 drivers who can win a championship here tonight, let's throw down trackside to Todd. Todd?
Thanks, Dave. You're right. Here's what it takes for Don Thompson Jr. to win a championship. He's got to win the race, lead the most laps, and hope that Scott Steckley finishes 14th or worse. Donnie, on the pole, as we've seen you a lot this season. Some things are in your control tonight if you run a good race, but then you got to hope for a little luck, I guess.
Yeah, that's for sure. Home hardware Chevy's been good all year. You know, even if we come up a bit short, that's life. I got to thank the crew, of course, the sponsor, and John Fitzpatrick, the car owner. But we're just going to do the best we can. That's all we can do. And, we'll see what happens with Scott. But if he wins it, congratulations to them. But, hey, we're going to go for it.
Don Thompson will be going for that championship. So, too, will the points leader, Scott Steckley, who will start alongside, of course, on the front row. His strategy, though, a little bit different. Scott, you didn't have the reliability that you wanted in our last event. That motor underneath we know is solid. Are you approaching this race any differently than you have this season?
We got a great motor in the car. We're approaching it differently than we're not going for the win. We want to run up front all day. We want to stay out of trouble. We definitely we're going for a top 5, but the main thing is to finish this race.
Scott Steckley hoping to finish this race with a good finish and secure a championship. When we come back, we'll get the championship decided and we'll get the race underway.
The 13th and final round of the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series, presented by Sirius Satellite Radio, is brought to you by Castrol Syntec. Unlock the power. By Mopar. Authentic performance. And by Duplicolor, the premium brand leader in automotive paints, primers, and coatings. Now let's send it down to Howie Nickel, who's a Dodge dealer from Centennial Chrysler in Barrie, Ontario, for the words we've been waiting to hear.
Gentlemen,
Start your engine! An enthusiastic call from Howie Nicholas. Don Thompson Jr. fires up for the final time here in 2008. He's trying to hunt down that man. The 22 of Scott Steckley comes into this one with a 67-point cushion.
Well, take a look right there. The 10 Haldex Dodge, Dougie Brown, an excellent starting spot for him in this race.
Nick Lapsevich in the number 13 Halnor Chevrolet running as the last event. He too set to be retiring here today. There's Todd Nicholas will ride on board with the 6-car. Good luck at DJ Kennington, who has some cracked ribs. You remember that bad crash he suffered at Riverside just last week.
And we're on board the 77. That's the homeboy. This is his racetrack. Derek Lynch in the Allied Steel Buildings Dodge.
As the Dodge Caliber SRT4 pace car gets underway, we'll take a look at the Duplicolor starting grid. The two top men in the Castro points chase, Don Thompson Jr., Scott Steckley make up row number 1. There's Doug Brown. Great starting spot for him inside of row 2 alongside J.R. Fitzpatrick in the 84. Ron Beauchamp Jr. drives the 60, and Peter Gibbons in his final race starts on the outside of row 3. Row 4 has Mark Dilley in the 02 of Kerry Mix. And a look back to row number 5 as the 12 of John Gott and the 39 of Dave Whitlock. Row number 6 has the 17 of DJ Kennington, and the 27 today being driven by Peter Shepard in for Andrew Ranger. Jason Hathaway is in the 3, and Donald Chisholm drives the 98, making his first start here at Kawartha. Brad Graham's in the 19, Anthony Simone in the 95, a Rookie of the Year contender. Sean McGlynn in the 81, and there's Derek Lynch in the 77. The 25 car is Jeff Lapsevich, and the 49 is Joey McComb. They make up row number 10. And row number 11 is Andre Corsol in the 5, and Daniel DeCoste in the 7, his first drive in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. The 18 is Kent Noon. The 21 is Jason White. And then a look back to row number 13 as Todd Nickel in the 6, Nick Lapsevich driving the 13.
And as the cars continue to put some heat in their tires to get ready for the start of the race, let's take a look at the Allied Steel Buildings race analysis. It'll be 250 laps on this great 3/8 mile oval. The weather's been a little overcast. We've had some rain, some mist all day long, but not even Mother Nature is going to mess up this championship. This is going to be a hot battle to the end.
And Billy, there is some light mist in the air, and a number of storylines to be followed tonight as well. With more on that, let's send it down trackside to Todd.
Fellas, the other championship battle we're following tonight is, of course, for Rookie of the Year. Trailing right now is the number 95 of Anthony Simone. A good starting spot, though, ahead of the man he's trying to catch in the championship. Jason White, the number 21 car, starts a little further back. If Anthony Simone can gain a few spots and finish ahead of him on this hot, humid, damp night, he might be the Rookie of the Year.
That's right, Todd. And what a battle it's been. Jason White out of British Columbia. He's hauled in here every race, done a great job. Simone's a local boy from Ontario. He too has done a great job, but they both missed one race. It'll all be settled here tonight in Kawartha.
And Jason White's A&W Monte Carlo will be one of 8 cars carrying an onboard camera tonight here in the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250. John Stewart from J.J. Stewart Motors in Peterborough Dodge has the green flag in hand. The cars make their way off of 4. It waves, and we're underway here at Kawartha.
Down into turn 1, the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. in the preferred groove. But remember, Steckley said he's just going to hang out in the top 5 and see what the race brings him.
This is a very green racetrack after we had practice. Some rains came, washed all the rubber off the speedway. A lot of the drivers down pit side worried about how the early laps would play out here. And it looks like Don Thompson Jr. has the early handle.
And even when it wasn't raining, Dave, it was a mist. You could walk through the air and be wet from walking through the mist.
Don Thompson Jr. doing everything he needs to in the early going here in Kawartha, leading laps and picking up 5 bonus points for leading the first lap here in the Dodge Dealers of Ontario. Ram 250 is Mark Dilley in the 1 of Peter Gibbons. Battle side by side. That's for 6th position.
Well, Peter Gibbons coming off a really great race out in the East Coast, only being black flagged in the later stages for some rough driving, but he still wants to end his career in NASCAR with a win. Watch the number 1 tonight. He'll be strong.
Interestingly enough, he does not have a win in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. That's very surprising out of Gibbons, and he's hungry for it as he bumps the back of the 9. Now back to 7th with the 12, and the 1 battling side by side.
Wow, the Dodge Dealers race. Look at all these Mopars up front. The Dodge horsepower really works well on this fast little 3/8.
Got to keep the revs up here. Billy, is that a secret to going fast?
Yeah, absolutely. The second groove will come in, and you can see Peter Gibbons trying to get it worked in as DJ goes from the top down to the bottom to get underneath him, but the outside groove will come in. all the cold temperature and the dampness. Oh, Peter didn't get a little contact off of turn 2.
You can see that contact as we're riding on board the Castrol Dodge. Now, Peter Gibbons trying to hang on more like in the high lane. That's 11th spot in the battle between the 19 of Brad Graham and the Full Throttle Energy Drink Avenger and the Canadian Tire number 1.
You can hear the motors hustling down the straightaway. Peter's falling back right now, but don't let that worry you. Here's another Chevrolet up front. He's setting sail, and Steckley's right there, keeping him in sight. But look, they've got 7-8 car lengths to the 3rd position.
You heard it at the beginning of the race. Scott Steckley just saying that he wanted to keep his nose out of trouble, keep the leaders in check, and that's exactly what that 22 is doing. The 84 car of J.R. Fitzpatrick running in the 3rd position. You can see the gap the leaders have out his front windshield.
We can't, that sound there was kind of awesome. I'd like to get another shot inside that car. That motor in the 84 does not sound good down the middle of the straightaway.
So possibly J.R. Fitzpatrick relaying that back to his crew, saying may have something up. 4th place now being exchanged. The 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr., the 10 of Doug Brown. Brown started the inside of row number 2. He's been hanging that Haldex Avenger up near the front ever since the drop of the green. But Billy, with all this moisture in the air, is that a concern to some of these teams? Possibly some of the moisture getting into the electrics?
Well, it's not really the electrics. Well, yeah, the rain could for sure. But what I was hearing on pit road was that the tuners were all worried about it. Moisture in the air makes horsepower. To make horsepower really well, you got to put some more fuel to it. And of course, ignition timing works into the equation as well. But some of these motors, just with this moisture in here, won't be perfectly tuned.
John Gaunt on the move in the Centennial Dodge number 12 underneath the 10 of Doug Brown. That is for 6th position. And Gaunt had great practice times. Unfortunately, one of the first cars out for qualifying, so that affected his starting spot as the leader makes his way through lap traffic. On board now with Todd Nickel in the Chevy as Nickel will tuck it to the inside.
Oh, Todd Nickel, just a true gentleman racer. We've talked to him before, all the way in from Edmonton, Alberta to run this race. He's just having a lot of fun.
Here's 3rd spot up for grabs, J.R. Fitzpatrick. As you mentioned, possible motor troubles on the 84 car as he slides back to the clutches of the Mopar number 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. And Beauchamp looks like he's going to make quick work of the 84.
Just watch this side by side down the front stretch. The 84 hangs in there, but you can see the 60 of Ron Beauchamp just pulls a little better in the center of the straightaway, and that's where he gets the advantage. And he sets sail and takes the spot.
This track is just so racy, isn't it? Good banking in the corners and long straightaways make it a great side-by-side facility.
Well, the best thing for JR right now is this racetrack is a handling racetrack. So even if he's off a little bit on the horsepower, the car's still going through the hook really well, and that'll keep him in good shape until something happens.
Beauchamp now edging his nose in front of the 84 and dragging along the number 9 of Mark Dilley. As we take another look back up to your points leader, the 22 of Scott Steckley came in with a 67-point cushion, was content just to ride, but now he seems to be putting more pressure on the 4-car of Don Thompson Jr. as Dilley now gets underneath the 84. That's for 4th spot.
Well, the 84 just keeps sliding back into the clutches of these other racers. He's losing spot after spot. We still got to wonder if something's going wrong in that power plant.
Saw that great Duplicolor speed shot down the front straightaway. Scanners telling the drivers that there's a car up on the outside as Sandy Putnam relays that information to the 12 car of John Gaunt. John taking away 5th spot now. And there is Peter Shepard in the 27. It's odd seeing somebody else driving the 27 as Andrew Ranger opting to drive in the Nationwide Series as Daniel DeCoste takes over Shepard's ride in the 7 here today.
There's a great onboard shot. We're on board with the 77 Allied Steel Buildings Dodge of Derek Lynch. He's got lots of laps here and knows how to get around here really well.
Look at here, though. The 22 of Steckley has caught the back of the 4-car of Don Thompson Jr. There's Daniel Acosta. We got trouble right in front of the leaders. Nick Lapsevich in the 18 of Candian. Caution flag flies as these two drivers get stuck together down on the infield. Noon with some body damage. Lapsevich able to get away.
Well, he's very lucky to get out of that grass. It's been really wet here all afternoon. As you can still see some of the moisture on pit road as he slid down through the mud. Whoa, it's actually this number 7 car get into the 18, shoved him up into the 13 of Lapsevich.
So innocent bystander was the 13 of Nick Lapcevich's. Doug Brown is down in pit lane. And now the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick is in as well.
Boy, Dave, we're looking at these cars in pit road. Everybody's cranking rounds of wedge, panhard bar, everything into these race cars, trying to get them to handle better in these conditions.
Trying to get a hold of a slick track. One driver has got a great hold on it. It's Don Thompson Jr., your leader. Welcome back to the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. You're watching the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250 from Kawartha Speedway. And a fine mist has just begun here as we work lap 34. The championship frontrunners still lead the pack here at the final event of the 2008 season.
While we keep these hot race cars circulating this racetrack under green, that'll keep that racetrack heated enough to keep the moisture out of it, Dave, but it could get a little dicey in the second groove where the race cars aren't every lap.
During that last caution period, the 5 of Andre Corso received the tow truck in a box free pass, so he's back on the lead lap, trying to get himself in better position as the 12th car of John Gunn takes away 4th underneath the 9 of Mark Dilley.
Well, Thompson's got to feel like he's the hunted man. Look up front here. 1 Chevrolet and what do you call it? 6, 7 Dodges. My Lord. He's surrounded by Dodge.
And there's the top 4 in the 27 of Peter Shepard in the Walmart Tide Ford Fusion as he battles with Derek Lynch for 12th spot. And we got battles at the front. The 22 of Scott Steckley up on the outside of the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. And Steckley will take over the lead going into quarter number 1.
Oh, the caution's out. There's the 18 of Kent Noon. He's around again. That could nullify the 22 lead change.
It looks like it might because the entire field did not come through to complete a lap. Sean Gibbs waving the caution flag for the second time here in the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250, and wow,
Kent Noon right up over the left rear of that's the 95 of Simone. Tore a lot of fiberglass off both race cars.
And that's definitely going to hurt his Rookie of the Year chances here today. But Don Thompson Jr. out of first place down pit lane, and Todd standing by in his pit stall.
Home Hardware Chevy arrives here on pit road, and the crew going to work methodically. They have a timing light, they've got plug wires and everything that they hope can make repairs. Remember, just at the last event, they had a problem at Riverside with the bodywork. The crew made a late call to take that bodywork off to avoid a black flag. Don Thompson Jr. was able to charge back through the field. This problem looks to be more severe, though. They're taking off the air cleaner. Donnie could be here. If he goes down a lap early, it's not fatal, but it would be a serious blow to his championship aspirations.
We saw Peter Gibbons in. There's the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick. Possibly the same problem as his crew goes under the hood.
Wow, we've been listening to the 84 as he was going by. We talked about the motor not sounded like it was up to full song. And the next thing you know, Don Thompson Jr., his teammate, is on pit road as well.
Working lap number 46 as we prepare to go back to green. Scott Steckley is in fact your leader with Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Mopar Dodge number 60 up on the outside. Sean Gibbs holding the field back. Now the green flag waves, so we're back underway.
And count that one as 5 bonus points for the 22. He just led a lap.
The 4 car, Don Thompson Jr. and the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick both managed to get out to join this restart, so they will not fall laps down as John Gunn making a play for second now as he battles side by side with a 60.
Wow, just a gaggle of Mopars up front. This is amazing.
Still 202 laps to go, so anything can happen here at Kawartha Speedway. Whoa. It's a big track, but there's lots of rubber, as you saw there for a second. The 12 of Gunn, the 60 of Beauchamp.
Wow, this is great action. I'm just a heck of a fan right now watching these guys side by side.
Inside, DJ, inside.
And that's the spotter helping his driver in the 60 car down in through there. But now we got to remember, Don Thompson Jr. has led 42 laps so far. So the 22, to get another set of bonus points, needs to lead more than 42 laps to pick up some more.
And Billy, you talked about watching these drivers run side by side. They're on a ninth edge. You'll see these cars moving around that mist in the air, making this track a little slick. These drivers really have to hang on to it.
Well, the more they run out there, the better it'll get it dried off. But you can really see Mark Dilley's car looking out the back of DJ's, really wiggling under braking. He was just on the edge, had the right sides out in that real wishy-washy gray area there that I call it, and it's pretty damp out there, so they'll have to tiptoe through it. But these guys are pros. This is still going to be a great race.
Just on board with the 77 of Derek Lynch running in 9th spot. And you mentioned Mark Dilley as he ducked down to the inside. He said enough of enough on the outside. You can see the 19 now sliding back as the 77 of Lynch continues to work the inside lane.
Well, everybody knows that the outside's going to be a little slippery, so everybody, you can get a nose underneath guy, root gouge a little bit, shove him out to the outside and let the freight train begin on the bottom.
DJ Kennington now underneath the 12 of John Gaunt, so Kennington moves to second position, and he's going to drag the snap-on Dodge of Jason Hathaway along with him. Hathaway having a great run here today.
Well, the 3-car looking really strong. He practiced strong, and he's having a great race so far. If he follows DJ to the front, that'll be the best school he's been to all year.
Top 5 drivers here in the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250. All Dodges, and even more than that now as Beauchamp and Whitlock get together, and there's Lynch going around on the front straightaway. Shepard's got his hood up over the windshield. Caution flag flies for the 3rd time. Here at Kawartha, Lynch will grab a gear and get going to avoid losing a lap.
Wow, a lot of action coming up at turn 4. Oh, Peter Shepard, he's got the hood right up over the window.
Trying to get that hood to fall back on his own. We'll take another look at what happened.
Oh, it all started with a little racing contact between the 39 and the 60. They check up, the 77 checks up, the 19 gets in the back of him, and of course the 27 into the back of the 19.
Despite the hood flipped up over the windshield, Pete Shepard hits it right on the marks. The crew's going to remove that hood and allow Pete to see again. Jeff Lapsevich also with the hood askew. It comes off. A little wedge adjustment as well. Pete Shepard is away. Jeff Lapsevich will follow shortly.
And the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick once again down pit lane as they try to find their engine troubles. Steckley leads here with 58 down. The top 10 here at Kawartha, all Dodge Avengers as we get set to resume the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250 on TSN. Restart number 3 here on lap 61.
And Dave, you heard me talk about so many of the Dodges being up front, and even Kerry Mix, the 02 driver, he has a Dodge under him this week supplied by Brian Cathcart since he had some Ford motor troubles in his old car.
Well, it pays to be in a Dodge. The Mopar Fast 5, of course, a contingency program for the drivers who are in Dodges. The top 5 Dodges at every race get a little bit of money courtesy of Mopar.
And so far, I believe the number is $65,000 extra Mopar put in the program.
So it pays to be in a Dodge Avenger, and 2 of them are battling side by side down the front chute. Your points leader, the 22 of Scott Steckley, falling back to second position now as the Castrol Syntec, number 17 of DJ Kennington, noses to the lead.
Oh, the Castrol kid, the big green machine there. I was listening to everybody talk about, oh, DJ's sorry, broke some ribs, he did this. I know him as a tough customer and knew that that car would be up front sometime tonight.
Well, he had to work hard to get there, and he used the Highline to get around the tow truck in a box number 22 of Scott Steckley. John Gaunt currently running in the 3rd position in that Centennial number 12. How about Donald Chisholm in the 98 all the way from Antigonish, Nova Scotia, running in 14th position. The 21 of Jason White, the A&W Monte Carlo. We ride on board with him, of course, Rookie of the Year contender. He is running in the 13th spot right now. Good run for those 2 drivers.
Well, it's fun to watch Jason White run well. You know, he's been very busy traveling back and forth, him and crew, and to have the race car ready week in and week out, and just a real nice challenge. Good to see A&W on the side of the race car. Excellent looking program.
And just looking at the rundown, too, the 95 of Anthony Simone is in 25th position. So if White stays where he is, he'll likely be the Rookie of the Year. Hathaway up to 3rd now. The 9 car, Mark Dilley, gets underneath the 12 for 4th position.
The Barry boys going at it there. That's the 9 of Dilley and the 12 of Johnny Gaunt. They've gone at it many years up at the Barry Oval and some of the other Ontario racetracks.
176 laps to go here in Kawartha, and a sight you don't often see. The 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick falling off the lead lap on performance, and that motor sounds sick.
Oh, it sounds horrible. He's down at least 1 cylinder.
Run hard. Inside, they're looking there, John. They're looking. Cars looking inside, so run hard, follow 9 around.
That's Sammy Putnam, the spotter for John Gaunt in the 12. You can hear him telling that the 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., taking a look underneath. All he has to do, just follow that 9 car.
Well, he keeps it in the same groove. He just doesn't allow the car to get a position on him going into the corner and root him up out of the groove.
On board with Peter Gibbons running in the 10th position.
Oh, that's some Chevrolet RPM, I'll tell you. Peter Gibbons not shy at all on the go pedal, probably turning just about 7,800 to 8,000 RPM in that Chevrolet tonight.
And was trying to use the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick as a pick as he went through the corners. All the drivers moved up the lane, but Gibbons, the smart guy that he is, taking that inside lane, knowing J.R. is going to get way down on the inside down the straightaway.
And there's the battle for 14th. That's the 25 and the 77. Lapsevich and Lynch going at it for that spot.
So Lynch in the 77 Allied Steel Buildings. Dodge Avenger having a decent run, and another Dodge Avenger that is struggling. The 0-2 of Kerry Mix. He is down pit lane for the first time here in his first ride in a Dodge, and Todd standing by. Todd?
Going to check both the left and the right rear tire. This, of course, a Dodge for the first time underneath Kerry Mix, trying to determine what the problem is. They don't sure if it's a flat on what side of the car. Jack stands up. They're going to have a look and see if there's something a little deeper underneath.
I need you to bring it back in. I have a loose wheel nuts on the right rear wheel. Come back in, please.
Wow, that's a big time error. He's got loose wheel nuts on the right rear, but it's good they caught it now. They can get that tire off there. The oblong wheel openings will be fixed up, and maybe he can get the free pass and get back on the lead lap.
Pretty veteran move, though, from Kerry Mix. He'll be able to feel that car and how bad it was handling and the vibration, knowing full well to come down pit lane.
Well, they did a great job. They qualified well with a car they didn't know much about, but they had been to Peterborough and tested the race car. Oh, the 10 into the back of the 39.
And that just happened moments ago as Doug Brown lay in the bumper to the 39 Dickies Dodge of Dave Whitlock. That opens the hole for the 1. Peter Gibbons as well. Now a battle for 8th. There's the leaders up on the outside of the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick as he goes a second lap down. The Castrol Syntac number 17 of DJ Kennington continues to lead, but J.R. Fitzpatrick having a rough go here in the final event of 2008. Todd standing by with an update.
Guys, with Jeremy Ritchie from the 84 team. Jeremy, they've been telling JR on the radio he's got to pick up his speed or they're going to call him in. Do you know what the problem is?
Yeah, unfortunately, Todd, he's got a critical engine failure. He's down a cylinder. He's not going to be able to do anything. He's doing the best he can and just trying to stay out there in log laps.
JR's going to try and ride it out. Caution on the Speedway.
Caution on the Speedway for Daniel DeCoste in the Walmart Ubisoft Ford Fusion. He goes around. Billy will take another look at it.
Well, down into turn 3. Looks like he just got in too deep with maybe a hair too much rear brake, and around the car went on him.
Let's give drivers a chance to visit pit lane, and Dave Whitlock in the 39 in for right side tires and some fuel. Same for the 98 of Donald Chisholm as they work on some setups to take him to the stretch run here at Kawartha. DJ Kennington continues to lead. Welcome back to the final event of the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series on TSN. The number 17 Castrol Dodge of DJ Kennington leads Scott Steckley as we go back to green here on lap 105 of 250.
Wow, you just look down through the camera and see all that mist. It's getting heavier minute by minute here at Kawartha Speedway.
And the drivers, especially in the high line, will find it's getting slicker and slicker as they start to put two tires outside of the racing groove.
Well, you see the 22 of Scott Steckley. He drove it down into turn 3 like he has been all night, and it just washed up with extra 5 or 6 feet. Look at that, right up the high groove. That was our leader, DJ Kennington, sliding up. The 10 sliding way up. Whoa, contact the 3 and the 17.
And the 3 goes through to the top spot. A new leader, the step-on Dodge of Jason Hathaway, goes through here with 143 laps to go, but it's getting dicey. Now John Gahn locks up the left front.
It is wet out there. We're just on the verge of it. Is it wet enough to stop the race? But not really. It's just uncomfortable and a little slippery.
Looking down the running order, Joey McComb got the tow truck in a box free pass during the last caution. Back on the lead lap is McComb as the 12 of John Gahn dices side by side with the tow truck in a box. 22 of Steckley. They touch and Gahn gets into the 22.
Wow, 360 kept right on going. He might have just touched the fence with that right front. Hopefully he hasn't knocked the toe out. We got to remember, he needed to finish 14th or better if Don Thompson won the race. Donnie's struggling a little bit, but here it goes. The car doesn't look too awfully damaged.
It doesn't look too bad at all.
Did you get up into him, John?
Yeah, kind of slid up a little bit, but he's crowding. He's running into me down straightaway, too.
Well, let's take a look and see if that's happening. Down the straightaway, the 22 and the 12 touch. And then Johnny just missed the corner, or it's just a racing deal. You know, two guys going hard for the same spot. A little wet out there, a little slide, and no harm, no foul. Scott Steckley still your points leader right now.
Lynch is in, so is Doug Brown, and the 22 of Scott Steckley is in.
Scott Steckley arrives on pit road. The crew with a plan as well. They are lifting the hood. They're going to work on the right front. They're going to try to replace a tie rod end. Scott said he bumped the wall and the steering is all messed up inside the car. There's no way he can get to the end in a decent finish with the steering handling the way it is. So how quickly can these repairs be made?
Well, they have tie rods prepared in the toolbox just for this situation, so it'll be fairly good. Thompson's on fresh right side tires. He's chasing that man, Jason Hathaway.
The number 3 Snap-on Tools Dodge of Jason Hathaway leads the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250 here at Kawartha Speedway. Sean Gibbs throws the green flag as we begin lap 114 to 250 here on TSN.
And again, looking out the window, you just see the mist getting thicker and thicker. It's going to make this racetrack get slicker and slicker as this race goes on, mostly in the high groove.
The number 7 of Daniel DeCoste got the tow truck in a box free pass, and that time around, he's back on the lead lap as DJ Kennington makes the push for the lead on the outside.
Well, just as I said, the outside's going to be a little slick. DJ's making it work, but he did lose a little ground that time in 1 and 2.
Huge power out of the 3 car of Jason Hathaway as he moves back into the top spot. 6th place up for grabs between the 1 and the 9. Todd's got an update on the points leader.
Guys, an update on the 22 of Scott Steckley. It's a bent steering arm on the right front. That's the problem. He's got to ride it out for the time being. How can he do it? How can he survive? He didn't want to go down a lap during that quickie caution. We'll see. Don Thompson Jr. also made a stop for fresh tires at that point. He's putting on a charge to get to the front.
Well, just as I said, heading for commercial there. He's on fresh rubber, and he's going to be heading for the front. As far as Steckley with a bent steering arm, probably just ride it out. It'll give just a little better turning radius in the corner. It will scrub that left front up pretty bad. But you know what? I just ride it out. He's looking good. He only needs to be 14th if Thompson wins.
Yeah, but as a driver, how much is that going to affect his head during this race? He's got to be thinking about this car not 100% right.
Well, that's the part he's got to keep right in his head. The car isn't right, so he's got to back off early, turn the car in, and do not put that car in jeopardy.
Look at what 4 fresh Goodyears do for you here at Kawartha as Don Thompson Jr. gets into the back of the 25 of Lapsevich, battling for 8th position.
Well, he's fresh tires and he's on a mission. Donnie would just love. Hey, you got to remember, his crew's telling him, Steckley's wounded. Steckley's wounded. Got to keep on the march. Got to win this race. Got to go. Got to go. That's what his crew's telling him.
He's got to win this race. Get up there in a hurry because he's leading. He's got to lead a lot more laps. Is bumping and rubbing here deeper in the field. Now Shepard making it 3 wide underneath Thompson and Lapsevich.
Well, the 4 opened the door a little bit there. The 27 took advantage before Donnie could get to it. Donnie's on the charge.
The Walmart Tide Ford Fusion. Peter Shepard just went from 11th spot to 8th in 1 set of corners. That opened the floodgates for the 4 Don Thompson Jr. to get by Lapsevich in the Tim Horton Chevy as well.
Well, you got to give a call to the 77 as well. It's not that many laps ago that he got turned around right here on the front stretch and had to go to the back, and now he's back inside the top 10.
126 laps left to go here in the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250 as we take a look back to the 98 of Donald Chisholm, and Chisholm locks up the left front tire. He saw Joey McComb do the same as we hit the halfway mark in time for the Home Hardware Midway Update. We've had 4 leaders, 3 lead changes, 5 cautions has slowed the field for 25 laps, and the fastest lap was put in by Don Thompson Jr. at just a hair underneath 18 seconds.
Well, speaking of the Home Hardware car, you got to give his crew a real tip of the hat as well. Remember, it was only in the first half of this race that they went down pit road where it had spark plug wires out, spark plugs, to make sure that that motor was going to get back up to full song.
And Don Thompson Jr. is chasing that man in the points. Scott Steckley's all the way down to 19th now. He's about a second off the pace, and Todd standing by in Thompson's pit.
Sandy Hamilton, you've had some engine troubles. You just got some fresh tires. What's Donnie saying about the weather, and what's the plan?
Well, we're not sure. The track's got a little bit tighter, our car. We're not sure, so we're trying to adjust to the weather, or maybe our car. We're not really sure, but we freed it up, and we got it running on all 8 cylinders. So hopefully we have a good outcome tonight, and we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully hopefully this weather holds out for us too.
Sandy Hamilton and the team hoping that they can get somewhere during this time when Scott Steckley has his hands full with that car.
Don Thompson Jr. up to 9th position now as they continue to chase the 3-car of Jason Hathaway, is looking for his first ever NASCAR Canadian Tire Series victory, and trouble coming off of corner number 2. The one of Peter Gibbons goes around. Dilly collected in that mess as well as the caution flag flies once again.
Well, they got up in that second groove to go around the lap car 84, and they just got in that wet stuff, and both cars went around. Some checking up going on, and just a mess.
Oh, something horribly wrong with the 9. We'll take another look at it.
You can hear Peter Gibbons pedaling the throttle. He was up in that wet stuff. He was pedaling, trying to save it, and around it went.
You can see damage to the number 9 Dodge of Mark Dilly as the crew goes to work under the right rear.
Well, the rear end looks like it might be shoved over, or maybe it's just the fiberglass shoved over. And there's Peter Gibbons. He's getting stuff checked out. A little bit of a chassis adjustment. The 22's in for repairs. We'll be back with more after this.
Jason Hathaway leads the final event of 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Skip Ambrose, the owner of this fine facility, just has to be proud. His Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250 event is packed with fans. Now the 77 Allied Steel Buildings Dodge that he owns is in 8th and headed to the front.
That's a lot of horsepower. They're all slipping and sliding. Even the bottom groove's a little loose now.
Take a look at the track in that last camera shot. You can see the dry groove and then the wet groove up above. You can see down low there as well. And now John Gott up in that wet groove, and he's going to lose a couple spots. One to Don Thompson Jr.
There's a real good look at it right there. See the dark gray down the bottom? That's wet racetrack. The light gray is where it's dry, and everything else is wet. There's just barely a groove and a half in both ends of this racetrack.
And recapping the point situation, the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. is inside the top 5. The 22 of Scott Steckley's all the way back to 17th. That puts the points pretty close. Now you remember, Don Thompson Jr. had to win and lead the most laps, and he's led 42 laps. The 17 of DJ Kennington has led 43. So that would give Kennington that extra 5 bonus points.
Yeah, but having said that, Don, we got the 81 around backwards. Little fiberglass damage on the right front, down the front stretch.
McGlynn getting into the front straightaway wall as the caution flag flies with 108 laps to go here in the Dodge Dealers of Ontario. There you see the debris left by the 81 of McGlynn. We'll take another look at what happened.
Oh, he has contact with Lapsovich at the 25, and around he goes.
Look at White picking a lane. He wants to go high, he wants to go low, but the A&W Monte Carlo will ride on board with him now.
Oh, look at that. He's on the gas, on the brake. He's trying to pick his way through, and he did a great job. Didn't touch a thing.
Honorary flag person for the day, Morgan Robson from Barrie, Ontario, invited here by the good folks at Kawartha. And you can see a car in the infield. It is the 95 of Anthony Simone. He is out, which means the 2008 Rookie of the Year title will go to the 21 A&W Monte Carlo of Jason White and his crew from Sun Peaks, British Columbia. The first ever Rookie of the Year in this series.
That's great, Dave, but the 22 is back on pit road as well, and the leaders are just coming off of turn 4. They're trying to get this repair done without going a lap down. It's still in the air. This is not good.
So Greg Gibson getting that right front tire tightened, but Steckley will go a lap down to the 22 tow truck in a box. Dodge Avenger, heartbreak for this team. So that puts Scott Steckley down in 19th position. Don Thompson Jr. is up to 5th. So that makes the points battle even tighter, but everybody still chasing the 3-car of Jason Hathaway. Welcome back to Kawartha Speedway in the final round of the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Looks like this fine mist has soaked the track, and NASCAR has asked the teams pull onto pit road as they make some decisions on whether or not they can get this track dry. So we will have 76 laps to go if we do go back to green, but you can see the wetness of the track and the sheen. You can see the headlights up in the top corner of your screen, and that sheen making that track awfully slick.
Yeah, when you see the lights glowing on the racetrack, that's water reflecting the light. And when you reflect water, it's wet and it's slippery.
So quick calculations now. The 4-car of Don Thompson Jr. is in 4th place. Scott Steckley all the way back to 19th. So that means Steckley still holds a 24-point lead over the 4-car of Don Thompson Jr.
Wow, you talk about tight. And the Mother Nature, I said, wasn't going to affect this race, but I was wrong so far, but we're not done yet.
Yeah, Mother Nature really wanted to affect the outcome. However, it isn't raining all that hard. Again, it's just this steady mist, this huge crowd sticking in. You can see it's not raining hard enough for the crowd to scatter for shelter. They're going to hold their seats because they don't want to miss the end of this one. And the good news, too, we should be able to get this track back if this mist does let up.
That's right. They have big rubber tires for drying the racetrack that they pull around behind the tow trucks.
Don Thompson Jr. has pulled into pit lane. You can see the crew's going to cover some of the race cars as Thompson chats with his crew, saying, you know what, this is exactly where he wants to be at the front of the field as Scott Steckley has problems. And actually, Todd is standing by with your points leader. Let's throw it down to him. Todd?
Scott Steckley's just climbed out of the car. The cover's on. The rain's kind of gone away, but it looks like from all the math we've done and all the calculators working, if we end right now, you're going to be the champion.
Well, I don't know. We're not running real good right now. We got the car fixed. We got tangled up there and just touched the wall. But the crew did a great job. We have the car fixed. I think we're ready to get back in the lead lap and head back to the front if we have to.
Well, Scott Steckley's going to wait it out with the rest of us, guys, and we'll see what happens as we come back to Kawartha Speedway with more of the Dodge dealers Ram 250.
The rain is now falling a lot heavier here at Kawartha Speedways. We're under red flag conditions at the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250 for the final event of the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series presented by Sirius Satellite Radio.
Well, it looks like Sean Gibbs about to throw the checker flag, and Jason Hathaway will win his first career NASCAR victory.
And not only the checkered flag for here at Kawartha, but for the entire 2008 season, Jason Hathaway jumps to the top of his car and celebrates the win. Let's send it back down to Todd, who's standing by with a relieved Scott Steckley.
Welcome back to Kawartha Speedway. You can tell by the smile on his face that Scott Steckley is the champion for 2008 in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series as he gets some congratulations from Kerry Mix and other crew members. I don't know that anybody drew it up this way, but you'll take it, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. The car was good. We were running up front. We led laps. We did everything we had to. It's just awesome to be able to win a championship. I've dreamt about it for years and years at this level, and I couldn't have done it without my crew. They fixed the car. They worked night and day on this thing all the time. Sponsors, we didn't even know this year if we were going to make it through the first few races. Tow Truck and a Box, they came on board real big all year. Herb Group, AW Millwrights, AW Millwrights have been with me for 15 years. I got to dedicate it to them guys. We lost Arnie a few years back, but it's just awesome. I can't thank everybody enough.
Congratulations, Scott Steckley, who is the champion of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series.
A lot of emotion there. That young fella has worked very, very hard. He's been a clean race car driver. He's been there week in and week out. He's done just a masterful job.
And Jason Hathaway smokes the rear tires here as he celebrates the win and brings us tonight's Dodge winning moment. So it'll be a big celebration in victory lane as we'll take a look at the top 20 final results here in the Dodge Dealers of Ontario Dodge Ram 250. Don Thompson Jr. coming home fifth, not enough to catch the 22 of Scott Steckley. Good run, though, for Joey McComb in 13th spot. There's Jason White, your 2008 Rookie of the Year in 14th. Now let's go down to the winner's circle where Todd's standing by with Jason Hathaway.
Jason Hathaway climbing out of that number 3 and getting up on the hood with a checkered flag to celebrate a victory. A little water spray, and we've had enough of that to end this one a little bit early. Come on down, Jason. Bring that checkered flag with you.
I don't care.
Little congratulations from crew chief Julio Montanari, and big smiles all around. Enjoy this victory. Nice way to get the win at the end of the season.
Yeah, it was a great for us. We've been quick all year. We just our qualifying effort. I haven't got that underway yet, but we always race good. We always race to the front, and tonight's our night, man. It rained a little bit. We just can't get her dried off. So sorry we had ran so many laps in our caution, but I gave him a little show. Nose dropped the ball, burnt the tires off it. So gotta thanks Chaco, Fast Eddie, Snap On. My third year of this car. Super 8, everybody, the crew, Julio Montanari, man. That guy works his ass off.
Winter doesn't seem nearly as long, guys, when you have a win at the last race of the season.
And there's a big congrats from team owner Jamie Hackinson as Scott Steckley, the 2008 champion, does his donuts.
And muzzle, burn it down. We're done for the year.
Be a long time to rebuild it as Jason Hathaway picks up tonight's winner trophy from Jim Baden from S&B Keswick.
Well, Bill Steele from Mopar should be very happy with the Ram 250 and 3 Mopars on the podium.
And John standing by with another winner.
Celebration on the podium and about to be presented with the Rookie of the Year honors, Jason White. Guy who put up more frequent flyer miles than anybody. You traveled a long way, but congratulations.
I tell you, it was quite a year being the only team from the West and getting A&W on board and the cruising the Dub Tour. We cruised the Dub all across Canada, and I tell you, I'm so proud of my crew. We kept working and plugging away, and Rookie of the Year, lead lap, I wanted a top 10 for those guys today, and I think we had it in the car. Rain shortened race, but you know what? Rookie of the Year, first time ever, and we're so proud of it. I can't even believe it.
Congratulations.
Well, you can hear the emotion in his voice. He's a very proud young man, and he should be. It's a long haul from British Columbia, week in and week out.
And as the champagne gets sprayed, the win here by Jason Hathaway secured Dodge the 2008 NASCAR Manufacturers Award. You can see they picked up 6 wins on the season, edging out Ford by 16 points over the course of the season. Steckley, of course, picking up 4 wins this year. Jason Hathaway got one here tonight. Mark Dilley won at Cayuga. And Scott Steckley has been presented with the Champions Trophy by Canadian Tire's Tony Kuzinski.
Boy, that thing looks heavy. It's almost as big as Scott himself.
And Steckley starting the year with a plain white car, finishes off the champion after leading every single race here in the Castrol Points Championship. Take a look at the top 20 here in the Castrol Points standings. And you can see Don Thompson Jr. coming up 24 markers short. Derek Lynch just outside of the top 10. Ron Beauchamp Jr. in 13th. How about Kent Newton? There's Jason White finishing in the 16th position.
Well, a big congratulations to Scotty and his whole entire 22 race team. Randy Steckley, Greg Gibson and the crew, Mike Deal. They did a fantastic job, and they dominated this season.
The Dodge Dealers of Ontario Ram 250 has been brought to you by Castrol. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering. By Dodge. Grab life by the horns. And by Allied Steel Buildings, the leading, most trusted brand of steel building.
Oh, there's the champagne for the championship team. What a great season, Dave. It's been a blast.
Scott Steckley has been waiting a long time to do this. He gets to spray his crew with the champagne. We're done here in 2008. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next year.